we do for marketing for people that are really on a budget? And it was one of the questions that was asked in a group online and things like that. I asked the question, and a lot of people had some great responses. So I wanted to dive into that as far as like, okay, you're a new business, you don't have a lot of marketing budget, but what could you do to actually, get some solid marketing without having a big budget? Like, you don't have money for Facebook ads, you don't have money for Google AdWords. Maybe you barely have a website up or don't have a website up at all. So what could you do to get started? So really practical, advice on that. So the first thing I would say that you should do if you're just getting started and you don't have any marketing budget, make sure that you absolutely create and verify your Google business page. It's critical that you do this. If you want localized marketing, if you want to be seen locally on Google, it is critical that you do this. Even if you don't have a website, there's actually even a module within Google My Business where you can create a Google website based on the information you put into Google My Business. So you can even create yourself a temporary website on Google at no charge to you by creating this Google business page. And it actually takes the pictures you've loaded up and the products and services that you put in and things like that to actually fully populate this page. And you can actually send a URL. Like, let's say you procured a URL, so you have a domain, but you don't have a website yet. You can actually point that domain at this Google website and use that until you have the budget or things like that to create another website. It's super simple to do. All you have to do is completely fill out your Google business page, and it kind of does the rest. You have a couple design options and things like that, but in general, you don't have to really pay anything, and it kind of creates a website that at least functions for you, has your hours of operation, your contact information, and things like that, and can function for you for free until you get another website built. Plus, your Google My Business page is going to be working from a local SEO standpoint for you as well. So again, we are starting at the very beginning at scratch is what people ask me to talk about. Like, you don't have a budget, what could you do? Obviously, if you know the name of your company and you can procure that URL or that domain name on GoDaddy or one of the other registrars, I would recommend doing that. Typically, that's going to cost you, if it's just a standard name, that's going to cost you $10 to $20 a year. So not a big expense, but a little bit of an expense, but you kind of should procure a domain. Go ahead, create and build out your Google business page. Go ahead and do the free website part of that, and then repoint the domain that you procured at that website. So right now, for $0, well, I shouldn't say $0, let's just say $20 to procure your domain, you now have a website and you have a functioning back end of a localized SEO effort with regard to your Google business page. So that is the very foundation. You've spent $20 and you now have a functional presence online. Obviously, I would recommend that you create a Facebook page for your business. If you already have a Facebook account, go in and create a Facebook page for your business. If you're into other platforms like TikTok or Instagram, I'd recommend creating a company page on there as well. You can use those, tie those in. Then what I'd begin doing, if you're already doing some business, have a procedure in place to begin to try to collect some Google reviews. Again, you don't have to give, if it's a genuine review, you don't have to give anything away to solicit it or whatever, but start with your Google page now up and operational. Start trying to ask the customers you're doing business with if they'd mind giving you a review, especially if you're open with saying, hey, we just started the business, we could really use the review. Some people that are really happy with you may be happy to help out and give you that review. That's really going to give your page and your Google business listing a bump start if you can get some reviews flowing. Again, make sure all that content is filled out correctly. Your products, your services, everything is filled out correctly. And then the next thing you can do is begin adding content to your Google business page. You can add pictures to your Google page. We've talked a lot in this program about optimizing images. You want to add optimized images into your Google business page. Make sure that they are geotagged for like, take your pictures with your phone, and automatically, if you have your location services on, will geotag where that picture was taken, which is going to help with the SEO. Then you can also retitle the picture, and you can add tags, and you can add a description. I would do all that. I would add those pictures to your Google business page. You can post on your Google business page much the same way that you post to your Facebook page or anywhere else. I would begin posting. Google likes to see activity. The reason I continue to harp and focus on Google is they represent over 50%, or not over 50%, over 90% of the website search traffic out there. So if somebody's searching for your product or service, you having a good presence on Google is imperative. It is like critical. Above and beyond everything else, you need to have a solid presence on Google. These are all things, everything I've mentioned so far is completely free outside of the $20 to procure your domain name for the first year. So again, I don't want to get into a conversation, because one of the things people ask me to do is really talk about just a grassroots, like, I don't have money, what can I do? Everything we're talking about right now outside of the domain, which is $20 for an entire year, is completely free. You don't have to pay any hosting fees for the Google Business website, the little thing they allow you to do. You don't have to pay any money to post pictures on Google Business, do posts on Google Business. This is all for free. So right now, that is one of the things I would do. So that's on a digital front. Now let's talk about some other things you can do. Some of the people have talked about, like, going out and putting flyers on cars in parking lots, going to local, if you're in the window film industry, in the automotive side of it, going to car shows and handing out flyers, handing out business cards, things like that. Grassroots type things. It's going to cost you a little bit of money for printing, but again, it's more your time than it is anything. I would be active on certain localized groups. A lot of places have local groups that talk about anything from home improvement to car related groups on Facebook and things like that. Join some of those groups, be active, answer questions when they come up. All these things, I shouldn't say they're free, because they do take your time, but they don't cost you anything. And when you're starting your business, sometimes when you're not buried in business, you have time. And this is where you can really use your time to your advantage to be on these platforms and doing these things that aren't costing you any money to really begin to get some momentum running with your business. So in the beginning, I would be reaching out to people, reach out to your customers, send them a thank you email, letting them know if you have a review system set up with TintWiz, or if you're doing something else, maybe put a link in there, say, hey, we hope you're happy with our service. If you'd be open to it and consider, we would really appreciate a review. Have a way to start to solicit those reviews. Outside of that, again, a lot of it, I think, is just grassroots, trying to engage with the community, engaging in groups. These are all digital things, but you can also, like I said, go the route of old school, just going and handing out flyers and things like that. Try to get in front of people, do demos at car shows. Like, sometimes people are very interested in that. So you can go and offer to do a free demo, which is going to add some excitement to the actual event, but you're also exposing your business to a lot of people that are there as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Also, if you do different sides of the different business, make sure that when you're have a customer that's doing business with you on one side of your business, that you have a mechanism in place to expose them to the other things that you do as well. Sometimes your best customers are people that are already doing business with you, but aren't aware of other products and services you offer. So have a mechanism in place to expose them to the other products and services that you offer. So again, there's countless different things that you can do that aren't going to cost you money, or cost you no money or very little money to get the word out. And I would engage in all those things. Be active in all those things. The thing you've got on your side when you're new to the business is time. When you're new with your business is time. And I would take advantage of that to really get some of these things rolling. So I hope that answers the question on what some of the basic, like small business marketing, no budget or little budget, the things you can do to get the ball rolling. And I hope that helps a couple of you guys come up with some ideas of things that you can do. So not having money is not an excuse to not be active online and active digitally. You could have a very good presence online without having a lot of money to spend. Obviously, when you have money to spend, you can accelerate that process and you can do some different things like that, but you don't have to have money to get the process started.